Got a High School episode 1 has already exceeded my expectation. Right away, the first thing I noticed is the motion of animation is so smooth. The powers we haven't necessarily seen yet. We did see a guy named Park Muji, who happens to be the prime minister, and he was getting blackmailed by 3 guys in the corporate world who were basically complaining about a bill that he passed, which they weren't having it, so they decided to drop a scandal. And that's the first demonstration of power that we've seen. The guy smacks his hand down on his desk, and all of a sudden, like, a giant hand comes down and just smashes the 3 guys on the island. I don't know what kind of power that indicates, but it definitely seems like he can destroy a whole island from the comfort of his office. This guy is a big deal from what I gathered just off the first 30 seconds to a minute of the series. So then it gets into our main character, Jin, who's pretty much just going through a flashback from his childhood. Now, the good thing about this show is it didn't jump straight into the backstory of all of our characters, which I like, because I feel like when you get too involved into the characters' backgrounds and not so much into the action, it kind of takes away from the connection of the show. So they just showed a little snippet how his grandfather, from the looks of it, walked out of his life. It doesn't seem like it was an asshole move, just due to the fact that Jim was just like, you know, like, I will, whatever that promise is that he made to his grandfather. So then Jin snaps back into it and he wakes up from his dream. He notices his alarm clock's actually smashed, so he's running late. He literally hops out of bed, jumps on his bicycle, and just heads straight down this giant hill. Jin, I don't know if he's like wealthy or what it is in Japan, but he lives on like this giant hilltop, and I thought it's pretty cool that I noticed that he has a home gym on the, you know, the back balcony of his house. I'm like, dang, like, this guy must be sweet. He up here getting the gains. Like, I've never seen an anime character that has a gym at his house. So, you know, Jin Mori works out. So it just kicks off with Jin rushing and running late to what we later find out is the High School of God preliminary tournament. Yeah. Jin is just rushing through the neighborhood and he nearly hits this old lady who he's very familiar with, and you know, she just screams at him. It gives me Naruto vibes all over, how Naruto would just run through the city and not really pay much mind of the people around him. I don't know, it just kind of gave me Naruto vibes because he just looks back and he's like, I'm sorry. Now then he like takes a left turn and like heads straight down a cliff, and you're like, oh my god, like, that's a bar drop. I still don't know how he survived. Maybe he has like immortality, indestructible powers. Like, I have no idea, but he survives. So then, you know, the intro kicks in and oh my god, honestly, like, this is probably one of the coolest intros to an anime that I've seen. It gives me like these EDM vibes, yeah, EDM vibes, and the action and just the opening is dope because you just see like these guys fighting and like just going through the motions, and it's real fluent. Like, whoever's working on this anime is they have a legit team, like a legit team. So Jin's going into town and he runs into a perch snatcher who happens to be on the motorcycle. Jin's like riding by and he sees the old lady basically sobbing, and he knows the old lady, and it goes to the super sad scene of like her taking care of her grandkids, and I guess one of them has a procedure that's coming up that she has to pay for, so Jin like feels for it, and he's like you know, because he has to go to the tournament of high school, or the High School of God tournament, preliminary tournament, or whatever it is. He has to be there, but he also knows that this old lady has a true purpose of why she needs this money. So he decides to turn around and chase the guy on his bicycle when the guy is driving a motorcycle. So yeah, he actually keeps up with him, and it's on a bicycle though, what? The way they animated this was really awesome because you just see this guy and Jin swerving through cars, and like I said, the fluidity of this animation is just legit. It's this dope scene where the semi truck's getting ready to hit Jin, and he kind of like pushes his bike to the side and he does like some type of handstand flip roll off the truck back onto his bike, which is pretty freaking epic in my opinion. So he's chasing this guy and it goes to a snippet of you is a freak. Not you, but like you, not you. The chick loves muscles. She was looking for the tournament ground, and she pretty much was just like, hold up, like, you guys got muscles? So dudes like rip their shirts off and they're like flexing, and she's being serenaded. You know, in the process of Jin doing the chase, he comes around and just smacks her dead in the face with his bike. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of Misty and Ash with the whole bike situation. Totally knocks her out, breaks her glasses, and he's like, you know what, I'm sorry, you know. So she like comes up and like starts choking him like all Sakura style. And I'm like, man, I like this because the show gives me nostalgia. You know, it's not the original shows that I'm used to watching, but there's some type of nostalgia to it. So Jin explains the situation to you, and she feels for him. So she jumps on his back while he's riding the bike, like all Mario Kart style, and they're just chasing this guy down. On the other hand, we see our man Han, and Han works at a grocery mart, and he's basically picking up extra shifts in order to, you know, just get that paper. I don't know what Han needs money for, but he needs it enough to where he actually comes into work before the actual tournament. Whatever his backstory is, it's going to be money related. So you and Jin's chasing down this guy on a motorcycle, and Yu has this wooden sword that she's using to like navigate and try to poke and pry at this guy to knock him off the bike. They finally get close enough and they find an opportunity. So Jin's like, go! And she jumps in the air, and it looks like she's about to hit this ultimate special move. And I'm like, oh my god, here it comes. Like, we're about to see like the second special move in this episode 1, you know, like we're about to get treated. And she jumps in the air and she goes, what, light sword style number 17. And I'm like, oh, you know, because that sounds badass to me. So she jumps in the air, and right before she gets ready to hit it, she smacks this sign, the street sign, and her face is like indented into the sign. I'm like, wow, like you guys really had to tease us like that. Like I was so geeked up and ready, and clearly it's like a legit move. Like it's her special move because they interrupted it, like they teased it, you know. It's like giving you a treat and you get ready to take it, like some ice cream. It's like giving you ice cream, and as you're reaching it, they snatch it away like yeet. So look forward to that one. The motorcycle guy looks back and he's like, all his 10 years of training or 10 years of motorcycle practice or riding or whatever it may be, you know, got him away. So he's geeked up, and he turns around and all you see is a boom, giant fist to the face, and there's our man Han. Clearly Han's the powerhouse, and he knocks the dude off the bike, and yeah, man, that's when the three meet. Another thing that I forgot to mention is there's a black character in the show who reminds me of Killer Bee. The show actually has quite a bit of black representation, which is very different from most animes because you don't really see black characters. But this show is very fond of them, so I gotta appreciate that, me being a chocolate-covered man myself. So they finally get to the god of tournament, and the guy's just kind of breaking everything down on how the tournament works. The god of tournament happens all around the country. I don't know if it's a yearly thing or what it may be. And they get these wristbands where it shows like their HP, so we actually get to see the strength of characters right off the bat. They didn't show our heroes' HP stat, which they probably won't at all. They're trying to hide that from us, but they do show the weaker characters. Some have like 520, 540 HP. The announcer just breaks the big news right off the bat, like, yo, this is a battle royal, so you can start now. And everyone's just like, what? Everyone's hesitant at first, but then like the weaker characters start to realize like, hey, if we knock off the even weaker characters, like we have a chance of actually making the tournament. The tournament isn't the actual tournament. They're preliminaries. They're preliminary tournaments. Now, most of these fighters were recruited by they're not recruiters, they're, oh man, what did they call them? For now, we're gonna call them recruiters. Most of the fighters are recruited by recruiters. Anyway, the recruiters seem to be very powerful. You know, they're all wearing suits like me. I'm practically a recruiter myself, you know. 3 of the recruiters actually recruited our heroes, and come to find out in the process of Jin being recruited, he actually fought his recruiter and damaged him. Yes, Jin damaged a recruiter. You know, the fight starts and immediately you see people just whooping ass, and our heroes are kind of just standing back because they're like, you know, I'm not gonna waste my energy until they're approached. So Yu's right off the back a sword user. She likes to use her weapons in order to fight. She's using her sword and she just comes in and I don't even think she moved the staff, like her sword much. She kind of just did like a one motion and just dropped 5 guys instantly. Weaklings. Han is more of our powerhouse. He actually knocked out like 5 guys with just a swing. Like he didn't even connect his punch. He just threw it and literally knocked 5 guys out. And then our main guy, Jin, our protagonist, he just seems to be a more well-rounded fighter. Like I didn't see Han so much use his legs in comparison to Jin, where it seems like his hands and his legs are kind of like in tune. Like he likes to use both. He's very smooth on the way he fought. And then it's like this cool ass Goku scene where Jin's just like stretching, you know, he's like, oh, you know, stretching. And it almost reminded me of the DB Broly scene where Goku's like jumping around. Like I'll put the comparison side by side. And he's stretching, and then like he kind of looks and he's like, you know, let's go. So Jin starts like moving forward, and like he just does like this smooth ass transition of just a punch and a kick. I don't even know if he threw a punch, but I know he spread his legs and kicked 2 guys like almost at once. And we're like, okay, so he's the Goku of the show. Like I get it, I see it, yes. So then it goes up to the top where the recruiters are. And you see this lady who's on the phone, and she's the same secretary connected to the Prime Minister. So she goes, the arrangements have been made, let him in. And you just see this big buff, I'm gonna call him black because he got the dreadlocks, big buff black guy come in. And he has his arms like chained up or wrapped up, and he has like 2 security guards next to him. And dude, this guy is straight out of juvie. Like dead ass, like they literally brought this guy from juvie into this tournament. So clearly there's something going on with the Prime Minister where he's controlling and positioning the narrative to whatever it is that he's trying to reach. So they come in and they tell this guy that his HP is 20% of the average fighter. So they put restraints on this guy. Like he's that strong to the point where they have to put restraints on him. He comes in and immediately he just starts wrecking guys, like knocking them out. And he actually went as far as to put his foot on the guy's head and just started smushing him. So of course you being, I guess the sweetheart of the show, she doesn't like it and she comes straight after the dude. She tries to swing her wooden sword and the guy's so strong to the point where he caught her sword, not with his fingers, but with his fucking toes. Yes, he caught her sword with his toes. So at this point, I'm like, oh man, you know, you using this wooden sword seems to be like her only go-to, so she's pretty much dead at this point. So I'm like, okay, someone's gonna come in and save her, but no. She uses her sword light style #1, and it kind of confused me because she didn't have a sword in her hand, but whatever. She basically hits him with like a gentle fist straight to his gut, and you can see it actually affected him because his eyes went like white. And then she comes around and does like a roundhouse kick to the guy's fucking dome, and I'm like, what? And so I guess the guy just eats it. Like, that's how strong he is. Like, he eats it. Not literally eat it, but like, he takes the kick. Yu's like, what the hell? Jin comes to the rescue, and he basically pants the guy, which I don't understand, but I guess it's like, it was comical. He throws a kick at Jin. Jin tries to dodge, but I guess he slips on some water on the ring. Like, I don't know where the water came from. I'm guessing it's probably not water, it's probably someone's sweat, which, you know, the road is real, so whatever. Anyway, Jin slips while trying to dodge this kick, and the kick connects full tilt. Jin goes flying, and all you see is this prison dude with like his leg up, and he has a giant knot like right there on his ankle. And he's like, who the hell are you? Which Han's the evaluator. Like, every anime has a character who knows more than everyone else. Like, he points out the things that we don't see so we can better understand as an audience. He points out that in the process of, you know, the dude from prison, I'm gonna call him cellmate. A cellmate, when he kicked Jin, in that split second, Jin actually landed an elbow straight to the guy's ankle. Now, let me remind you, the kick was fast. So for Jin to be able to land a solid elbow while getting kicked, also while being off balance, shows his skill. So Jin goes crashing to the wall, and the guy looks at him like, who the hell are you? And Jin kind of dusts himself off, and he's just like, well, since you're getting serious, I guess I will too. Episode 1 officially in the history books. I don't know about the rest of you, but I actually really enjoyed this episode. It's pretty good for the first one. I wish that they would have got a little more into action in the beginning, but it's okay. They left us with a cliffhanger. We got to learn a little bit about our characters and I guess a snippet of their backstory and what they really want. Except for you, she didn't really explain much, but we will find out as we go on. I'd rather not know everything at once and kind of learn when it actually matters. So that is it for today. Make sure to check us out for episode 2. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Show your boys some love because I'm doing videos like this every single week. Again, my name's De'Angelo Peete, and this is PEETE Media. Peace.